Hello, everyone. Welcome to Future Forward 24, our first webinar in 2024, basically. So it is great to see you all from LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. And we are so excited to walk you through the current state of modular mind and what's coming down the line. And we're really so happy to see you join us, basically. But before we dive in, I would like to have few details to go over quickly. Then we can just get to the good stuff, and yeah, we can just continue with what we have at the webinar. So first, this webinar is recorded, and you can access it after we close. To simply rewatch or check out the parts you might have missed, and we will have time for Q&A once we cover some example workflows. And please don't hesitate to share your questions in the chat. And most importantly, there are absolutely no silly questions here. So feel free to ask away and engage with your fellow attendees in the chat. So let's set the stage for the time together. We will first introduce the basics of modular minds and to align ourselves with the current state of the platform. Then we will continue with three workflows with some example use cases. And after, we will have our Q&A session to answer your questions. And finally, we will share our exciting map and what you might expect from Modular Mind in 2022. Four, sorry. Today, I'm your host, Dennis, and we just aim to create a quick, information filled, and to the point session because we already have an exciting roadmap for 2024, and we will have a plenty of time for many more webinars. So let's just start with the basics. So, for a tool like Modular Mind, often overlooked, but still one of the most important aspects is the building blocks you have. It determines the tool's limits as you start building, increasing the complex workflows. And in Modular Mind, actually, the only building block is a prompt. As you may already know, prompts are the instructions you share with the machine learning model, so it can achieve the results you're looking for. But prompts also serve as the source of the data and deliver the logic behind your workflow using natural language. And with Modular Mind, everything you work with, your instructions, your files, web pages, are all prompts. So you can manually type your prompts, import documents, or import data from URLs such as website to use as prompts for your work. And this brings the need to organize these prompts. And in Modular Mind, you have a library to neatly categorize them into folders, allowing you to access the prompts you frequently use. And these can range from product descriptions and reference writing styles to collections of data that serve as knowledge resources. And you can simply drag and drop these into the boards to work with them whenever needed. This seemingly simple building block actually enables us to construct immensely powerful workflows by organizing them in various ways to achieve the desired outputs. So, one of these ways is stacking prompts. A stack is basically a collection of prompts in an orderly fashion for you to work with multiple prompts combined together. You can drag prompts into the stacks, replace and reorder them to build your instruction for the model with a consistent flow. And this allows easy management of prompts without the need to copy and paste pieces of text all around. And after organizing your stack, you simply go ahead and pick the model you want to work with. There are several handpicked models in Modular Mind serving for different purposes, and you can explore their strengths in the models section in the settings. We carefully pick the models available in the field in terms of their capabilities and their cost. And some of these models are really powerful with relatively high costs, like GPT-4 and Claude 2, and others are extremely cost effective and still quite powerful for simple tasks like Llama 2 and Command Lite. And currently, GPT 3.5 Turbo remains the overall best model, and it is the go-to model for simply general use cases. And after you set up your stack and pick the model, you just hit the run button to send your instructions to the model, and all the prompts in the stacks are merged into a single one, so the model has all the information you delivered to work with. After the process is finished, it will return the results, and you may continue to improve your stack by rephrasing your prompts and just trying different models. And another way of working with prompts is by connecting stacks and forming chains. This way, the output of one stack will be carried forward to the next stack, allowing you allowing actually the latter to work with the generated output to further process your requests. This way, you can split complex tasks into sequential parts, and models will perform a lot better by focusing on one step at a time. And when you run a chain, just like a stack, each stack will prepare its output to carry it forward to trigger the following stacks. This allows you to automate your workflows once you've refined them into a reliable state, enabling you to run all of them with the push of a button next time. So let's continue with actually the advanced capabilities of Modular Mind. So there's actually a mind behind the workflows you work with that intelligently takes actions behind the scenes. So when you're on a stack, Modular Mind may decide to do a web search or web browsing. With web search functionality, Modular Mind will automatically come up with related search phrases to find content on the web, visit resulting pages, and make use of what it found if they're useful in the perspective of your instructions. With web browsing, Modular Mind will directly visit certain pages simply, and it may visit a URL that you shared, or it may decide to edit the given URL to visit another web page you might be in need of. For example, it can understand and edit the parameters in the link you shared to suit your needs automatically, and both be carried out. Both web search and web browsing functionality is carried out for multiple tasks simultaneously, allowing the model actually to process dozens of web pages in a matter of seconds. This way, you can initiate deep dive research on the web with simple instructions like asking the model to summarize the latest news in AI. Modular Mind will look for data on the web, deliver them to the model, so the model can use that piece of data to generate its output. And while visiting these pages on the web, Modular Mind can read the content of the page just like the way we do by looking at the render page. But it can also extract the links on the page, so you can use the raw data returned from the links as input. And even if you're working with large data with a structure you don't even know about, Modular Mind will automatically filter the content you're looking for and extract a piece of data you need. You don't have times or structure of the data, and you don't even general. Just tell Modular Mind what you want in natural language, deliver what you want. This functionalities is complex functionalities, advanced capabilities are currently only available for OpenAI models, but we will be enabling this feature for all the models in the future for Modular Mind. So let's just continue with some example workflows to see what all these translate into in practice. We will discover the capabilities of Modular Mind together through some example use cases, and we aim to showcase how to work with Modular Mind in general, so you can get a hang of using these functionalities to apply them to your own workflows. The walkthroughs are pre-recorded, but once we go all three, we will continue with a live Q&A for your questions. So let's begin by exploring how Modular Mind can assist in generating content ideas, conducting online researches for existing materials, and leveraging both to produce high quality content. Okay, now let's start with a brainstorming slash marketing workflow. Let's say we have a product we want to promote and reach out to masses to find potential customers, and we want to generate some content ideas for this purpose. And let's go just simply go by adding a prompt and telling suggest some content ideas for us to engage with potential customers. And in order to do that, of course, we need to provide an idea first, the product description first. And I had some descriptions in my library. One is about Court, which is a tennis platform, and the others is about a pickleball platform called Pickle. And I will just go ahead and start with Court. So I will expand this stack, then just drag and drop the description in front of the instruction prompts in the stack. So whenever I hit the run button to run the stack, it will be merged into a single prompt and sent the model to process that. So I'll just go ahead and name this stack content idea generation. And I will use GPT 3.5 Turbo for this purpose, which should be enough because it's a relatively simple task. So let's run it. I quickly came up with some ideas about a blog post, a social media post, and how-to videos. And actually, it came up with a pretty good content. And I want to say this to our library because I might want to use that with other workflows I might have. So I'll click add the library button and just give it a name, content ideas for court, and save it. So as you can see, it'll be quickly saved to my library. So I can just drag and drop it anywhere I want in the future. So let's continue with something about researching about content, the existing content on the web. So we can use some tips from those to in order to be competitive in SEO, for example, through Google search. So let's ask it to search for content that may be shared by others already. So let's say search content, search for content on the web about these. And these will be the output from the previous stack. So I want it to read this and search for content on the web about all of these. So as you can see, this is first. This stack has two prompt cards. The first one is our instruction, and the second one is the data we want to deliver to the model. And as you can see, this is just a placeholder for now. So let's now name it to content discovery on the web. And whenever I hover run button, it will also highlight the first stack because since I created the stack after I ran the first stack, this output is not carried here yet. So when I hit run button, it'll first again execute the first stack, then continue with the second stack automatically. So let's hit the run button. It'll probably come up with something similar, yeah, because we didn't change the model, we didn't change the prompt, and it's kind of consistent in this perspective. And now it should create some search tasks on the web with some keywords or search phrases. As you can see, it actually came up with 20 search tasks on the web, all of which will be executed in parallel, and we will have the output merged into a single result. So as you can see, it started to populate the searches and it started to write the results, the content it's found on the web after searching that particular phrases. And yeah, it already started to populate most of them. And you can click any of the links, related to, belonging to the output, and you'll see which sources it used to came up with the results. So one of the search results ended up in this website, which is kind of clumsy and whatever. It just read the content and came up with this summary, which I already lost because it's continuously providing something. So after everything is ready, this stack will say, okay, all the tasks are done, and we can continue with doing things on it. And yes, it is done. It made 20 searches on the web, found some websites, and just came up with the content written by other people. So what I want to do at this point is just try to extract some insights about how to prepare content about our product. So I want to first extract some keywords because it is crucial for SEO, search engine optimization. And this content will also probably provide some information, some numbers that I can use in our content as well. For example, there's a quiz on the web on the sporting.blog that just simply delivers some facts about tennis history. So maybe I can use this in one of our blog posts or social media posts. So I will tell it, since this is a huge content to go through, I will just ask it to ask the model to summarize everything or at least pick some that shows some potential to bring some potential users to our platform. So I will ask it to pick some content and generate some keywords for me to use for that piece of content. So let's add another stack. But actually, for this one, I don't want to go over the whole chain again for now at least. So I'll just copy this content, which is the content we found on the web. We found. I'll just add another stack to this and tell pick some interesting content among these and generate or at least find keywords about it. But in order to make it sound grammatically correct or at least help the model to understand what we want, I'll just reorder this because I will just first tell it what I want, then provide the data so it can get its around head around with it. So I'll just go ahead and run this with again GPT 3.5 Turbo. So it says you can use these keywords in a matter of seconds, and it also suggested some ideas to write about in a list. So as you can see, I actually summarized all 20 searches, the results of all 20 searches, and distilled them into some useful keywords and ideas. So I may continue with something like in addition with, I can add another stack and tell it to, now write a blog post covering some or all of these. And I can just connect this to here, and the output will carry it forward, this output, and I can say, name this as a blog post generator. But for now, we can continue, improving and adding to our workflow. But for now, I want to point out something else. So let's say we did that as well here, and instead of just separating these into two different chains, I want to connect this into a whole single whole workflow I might have, so I can just execute this with a single click and the content will be ready. And since these two are the same things, because I would manually copy it, I will just delete this one. So whenever I hit the run chain button, everything will be carried out in one go, and the content at the end will be a blog post for me. But now what I want is to show how I can reuse this workflow for other projects I might have, like Pickle, I mentioned in the beginning. So I will just expand this stack and go to my library again and drag and drop the description of Pickle. So with this simple drag and drop operation, we now have an entire workflow that will first listen about our product, which is Pickle now, go and search for existing content about some potential ideas, distill them into a summarized kind of report containing keywords and topics we might discuss about, and then generate a whole blog post about the idea. So it's simple as just replacing some prompts to convert the whole workflows, whole automated workflows to work on the data we want, which is the description of another product we have right now. So feel free to go ahead and experiment with this kind of workflows to amplify your. Okay, now let's start with a Okay, now let's continue with the second walkthrough, which is with this one, actually. We will use some local files and online sources to craft engaging emails. Okay, now let's continue with using some local files and importing online content. So let's say, again, we have a product and actually we released a new feature and we want to announce it to our user base. And coming up with a mail, for example, for this purpose may be a bit hard just because you may not have the creative resources. And what I do in these cases is mostly about going out and searching what others did. And one of the blog posts I found is from OpenAI about a new feature they had, custom GPTs. And I really liked the blog post, the way they represented the news about this new feature and why it is important and how this can be, the beginning of a huge thing. So I just wanted to take this and convert it to a template I can use for my own product. So let's go to ModularMind and just, again, create a prompt. At this point, I'll just go ahead and pick import a web page option and just paste the link and hit the import button. What it does is just take that web page and treat it like another prompt we have. And when I save it, as you can see, it'll create a prompt card inside the stack. And I'll just call this one templates from blog post because I want to generate a template in the format of this blog post so I can use it with my mail. So I'll just add another prompt and say generate a template from this. Let's go and hit the run button. As you can see, the model actually came up with some weird results. So instead of trying to generate a template, it just wrote whatever it found on the page, like the links it found, like the content it found, and it really didn't do anything about converting this into a template. So there may be several reasons for this, but one of which I believe is about um, simply the capabilities of GPT 3.5 Turbo. So I want to continue with Claude 2 because it's a lot better at consuming, analyzing, and making sense of huge pieces of information. So I'll just use Claude 2 and hit the run button. And again, ModularMind will visit that page, retrieve the information, add the instruction I had, and send it to Claude 2 to process. So now how we have something. So yeah, it came up with some placeholders about where you should replace things, and it's actually performed a lot better than the previous case with GPT 2.5. But still, the problem is it actually just converted the actual blog post and only changed the names of products with some placeholders, and it's really not about creating a template, but instead just converting the whole blog post into something that has variables in it and nothing else, basically. So what I want is at this point, what I want to do is try to improve the wording in our instruction. Because these models work with human language and human language is quite ambiguous. So we need to try to come up with some a bit more explanatory instructions to improve the outputs. What I will do is first I want to tell the model what this piece of information is about. And I will say here is an example blog post from OpenAI. So model will now be like, okay, I'm ready to hear what OpenAI wrote. And I just moved it on the top. Then I'll introduce the actual blog post. And then I will try to improve this the wording in this instruction in the prompt. So I will say convert this blog post to a template I can use in my mail. I'll just say don't write the content again because I want to extract the idea behind the format, not the actual information provided in that specific post. So I would say only suggest sections like what they explain or how the contents should be delivered. So let's try one more time to see if we can get what we want. Okay, it's starting to look like what we want because it included some general sections in the mail without just specifically pointing towards the actual content we have in the example mail. So it says we need to introduce our company for some reason and explain the new feature or product we have and just give the key details, then share when it will be available and add some closing remarks, basically. So this is a lot closer to what I want. And I actually want to use this template in my mails whenever I come up with some new features for a product. So I'll just add this to my library and say feature update mail format. And if we go to our library again, you'll see it is recorded here. And while we are in here, I actually want to import another document, local document that describes the actual update we have about the product. So I'll go ahead and click Add Prompt and choose Import a local file. So here is a file about our update named Court Challenge, and it is a feature to allow tennis players to challenge each other and say their match results to appear in the leaderboards. So let's go ahead and open it. And as you can see, it imported the PDF content. And let's say name this the Court Challenge update. Now, what I want is to write the mail now. So let's go and create a step by adding a prompt and saying, okay, here is an update for our platform. And I'll go ahead, expand the stack, then drag the information about the update as a prompt. And then what I want is I will add a prompt and say, I want to write a mail to my users to announce this new feature. And I want to write it in this format. Then again, I'll go to my library and drag and drop the format prompt I had previously. And let's go ahead and name this Word Challenge Future Updates Mail. And let's go ahead and run this. And as you can see, it immediately crafted a mail about our feature update in the format we actually liked and found on the internet. So as you can see, in general, you have to, try to experiment with your prompts, with the content you find online or your content you provide from your local sources, and try to come up with some stable results by changing, maybe experimenting with the model or changing the way you construct your instructions. So feel free to go ahead and try this methodology in your work. Okay, finally, we will work with the web browsing feature to supercharge our academic studies and build a powerful workflow to automate article review. Okay, now let's delve more into the advanced capabilities of ModularMind. So let's say I want to do an academic research. One of the platforms I use quite frequently is archive.org from Cornell University. And like many other platforms, it has a search bar for me to search for any topic. So let's just search for retrieval augmented generation, which is a method for LLMs to retrieve pre-composed data to prepare their answers to improve their reliability. And as you can see, it just quickly delivered the results for this particular search phrase. And let's go to advanced search and say, I just want to see the results about computer science. Let's say I'm not interested in physics or economics in general. Again, hit the search button and it gives the results from newest to oldest about retrieval augmented generation on computer science. So I want you at this point, I want you to pay attention to the URL scheme of the page. So there are many parameters here. It says advanced about the type of the search. There's this search phrase we had, retrieval augmented generation, and there are many other things. And it looks a bit complicated to be honest. But if I copy this link and open it in another tab, let's say I'm using this, I want to go to that exact same page in a later time. And as you can see, I can access that page about that specific search query anytime I want by visiting that link. So this means that I can share this link with ModularMind, so it will be able to visit this exact same page again to generate some results, some outputs for me. So let's go and try that. I'll go there, right click, quickly add a prompt, and let's say here is the search results on archive.org. I don't have to explain too much at all. And let's say I wanted to read the page and just give me some information from there. Let's say I want you to write the names, the titles, let's say, of the articles and the names of the writers. I'll use GPT 3.5 Turbo for this case because it's a relatively simple task. And let's name the stack as Retrieval Augmented Generation on Computer Science at Archive. Let's run this now. As you can see, it just decided to visit that exact same link because we simply told it to. And it will read the content just like we do when we visit it through our browser and try to come up with the task results we had, which is the names of the titles of the articles and names of the writers. Okay, now results are coming. As you can see, it read the content and generating results. Let's check that page again by clicking on that link. So the first one is poisoned rack. The second one is retrieval augmented thought processes, process as sequential decision making, gene retriever, and more. So yeah, it successfully went there and read the content and delivered the result to me. It decided to return the first 13 results, but and we can try to improve that by explicitly telling to retrieve more, but we'll just continue with this for now. And this is kind of cool, but it's really not a big deal, right? I can already go there, visit the link myself, and it really didn't bring me any more information than the ones present in this page. So let's continue a bit more sophisticated versions. So let's say I want to convert this simple stack into one that delivers me the results for any search phrase I might have, not only retrieval augmented generation. So let's simply duplicate this stack and say, I want to search about, or say, search a term LLM agents. And let's just, not to confuse the model, take this prompt from here to add it as a separate prompt at the end, so it's not confused about when to do what, right? So we will just first say search for LLM agents, then write the titles of the articles and names of the writers. So let's run this again, and let's say it's about anything on CS at Archive now. Let's run this again. And now we have the results again, hopefully for LLM agents. So let's visit that page. And yeah, the results for all LLM agents. It says, so the first one is Wildfire GPT, Secret Collision, and such, OS Copilot, and so on. So yeah, that's correct. So it's now, we just converted that simple stack into kind of a search engine for archive, basically. But it's still really not much of a deal, actually, because I could still go there, that page. I could change the search phrase by myself to LLM agents, and I could, again, see the same results just as listed here. So let's continue to make it a bit more sophisticated. And I would like you to pay attention to the links on the page. As you know, ModularMind can actually see the links on the page as well, not only the rendered page. So there are some links, and one of the links belong to the paths of the PDFs of the article. So if you visit this PDF, you'll see it's just the paper itself, Wildfire GPT, and every single result probably have that link attached to it at the search result with the search result. So now I want ModularMind, instead of just bringing me the authors, name of the authors, I wanted to bring the links to their PDFs. So let's continue. Let's edit the latest prompts with this and links to the PDFs of the articles. Now let's run this again. Now let's check this out if it's correct. Yeah, so it's successfully managed to find the links to their PDFs. As you can realize, I didn't tell it to how to find the PDF link because it's so many links in the page. Like even these authors have links to their own pages on archive. So it successfully managed to link this particular links URLs with the articles themselves. So now I have the list of the articles and their links to their PDFs. So what I want now is this. I want ModularMind to visit every single article, read the whole content, and summarize them for me. So let's just add another stack by adding a prompt and say, here are some articles and the links to their PDFs. And now connect this to the next one. So when I run this stack, the output will be delivered through the chain to the next stack so it can use that information. So, and before renaming, let's add another prompt saying, I want you to read the articles and summarize them. And let's now name it to summarize the articles. So again, this output just is just a placeholder for previous stacks output. And when I run this chain, the output for the first stack will be ready and delivered to the second stack, and the second stack can use that information to execute the task I gave it to. But at this point, I want to use GPT-4 Turbo because these articles are usually have a context length longer, even a lot longer than what GPT 3.5 has, which is 16K at this point. So I want to use GPT-4 Turbo, and it should be a lot better at summarizing tasks as well. So now let's run it one more time. Again, as you can see, it brings us the links to the articles. Let's check them out again if they're correct. Yeah. And now this stack will generate tasks to read the articles and summarize them all in parallel. So in a second, you'll see that generates different tasks for each article. And now we have the tasks, 12 tasks for 12 articles. And they're all run in parallel. So it'll take more or less the same time for 12 articles it would take for a single one. So even before I finish my sentence, it's already started writing the results, the summarizations for each article. And we also have the links here so we can check out if it correctly visited the correct page. So yeah, there we have it. So this seemingly simple workflow managed to come up with the summarization reports of multiple, actually, in fact, 12 articles in this case. So you can actually use this kind of framework to supercharge your studies. And you can actually continue to improve this kind of workflow by, trying to fine tune your prompts to improve the stability or add additional steps like using all the summarizations of the articles and combine them into a single report, for example. Now, this is the way you can harness, this advanced. Okay, that's great. So let's just move with the Q&A. So we were already collecting your questions before and throughout the webinar, and you can still keep the questions coming in the chat as we go, but we will start with what we have right now. So let's go and start with the first one. Give me a second. Yeah, the first question is, can I use my own API key? And if so, how? So that's a cool point. ModularMind actually supports using your own API keys, and actually the credit system we introduced is not to just generate revenue, but to help our users to reach out to models for the ones that don't even offer any API keys. So yes, you can use your own API key. And if you go to settings and go to section under models, you'll see the supported providers have an API key button at the side. So you can enter your key there and start using your API key instead of consuming your credits. And you can even decide individual models whether to use the key or the credits you have. For example, you can go and decide using your API key for GPT 3.5 Turbo, which is because it's already quite cheap, and you may decide to go with your credits for GPT-4 and consume your credits first, then start paying to OpenAI by using that. And we will continue to improve other providers as long as they support using API keys. But yeah, you have that option right now. And the other question is, what if I don't want Modular Mind to browse the web and just work with the data I have given? So this is about a problem we had for the last couple of weeks. Maybe not a problem, but something to overcome at least. So these models, starting with OpenAI ones, sometimes do not consistently deliver the same results. So sometimes they may act like ignoring some of your instructions and trying to do something else, even though you explicitly tell them not to do so, for example. But in Modular Mind, although the idea is to give that responsibility to model to decide when to do web search or browsing, you can still continue to explicitly tell what to do, basically. So, for example, you can just say, don't use the web browsing or don't do any web search and just use the data I just shared with you, or just consult your knowledge without going through any web results. And you can do the opposite as well. You can just say, I want you to go out and search for this. Make sure you do that search before answering my question. So you need to be explicit while sharing your instructions with the model. The other one is, what is the difference between web browsing and web page importing? So yeah, you've seen through walkthroughs, there are two options actually in terms of making use of that online data. But here's the difference. Web page importing is just a tool for you to simply import a certain web page as a prompt to use it in any of your stacks. But web browsing is just like about the thing I just mentioned. for the previous question, web browsing is about giving the responsibility to ModularMind to decide when to do what. For example, you may not have the exact link to a page, just like in the case where we were doing some web search, for example, or a search on a particular platform, and we needed to change the URL to be able to, reach out to the page we want. So in those cases, you have to, give the responsibility to ModularMind and use web browsing and say, okay, this is the example link I have, but I need you to go visit something else. But again, web page importing is about saying ModularMind, okay, this is the page, and use this no matter what. Don't do any search, don't do any intelligent deciding operation, or just use a single particular web page as I given to you. The next one is, can I schedule workflow automation in ModularMind? um, Currently you cannot. When we mention automation in ModularMind, it's mostly about you know building the chain you have, fine tuning your chain, trying to come up with better, instructions, and try to make it, output consistent results, and just simply taking all that complex operation and just taking it to a single push of a button kind of automation. But schedule in terms of scheduling, or triggering the running of these chains externally, is something in our roadmap, but is currently not available on ModularMind. The next one is, how the logical operations will work in modular minds, and can we use if else conditions and loops. So yeah, but when you think about those kind of workflows, professional workflows you use, you mostly need to have some old school way of logic filtering to decide if something is useful or not. Currently, this is not supported in modular minds. But I would like to point out some difference in our perspective of handling this kind of problems. In other platforms, for example, you will have some special modules, special logic modules, if else components, and looping components, and you have to manually arrange all of those to build your workflow, and this usually leads to an exponential complexity, even if you're dealing with some simple one or two if else conditions. But what we want is, just like the case in the case of web browsing and web search, we want modular mind to decide by itself, through your instructions in natural language, and decide by itself if it needs to do some if else filtering, or some rerunning some stacks, uh, just like a loop, until some certain condition is satisfied. So there will be some way to deal with those logical operations, but they won't be in an old-fashioned manual way. It will be carried out by that mind behind your workflows, basically. The next one is, can I see how much tokens I can process with my credits? Yeah, you can go to settings. I'm sorry, you can go to your credits panel, and you'll see how much credits you have. You can just simply go over and hover your mouse on that number, and a panel will pop up and show you how much tokens you can process with each model we have with the amount of credits you have. And next one is, can we write the outputs to somewhere else like Google Docs or Notion? Um, Again, currently this is not supported. And the thing is, just like in the case of these logical operations, is something that takes time for us to implement, because our approach is different than this traditional way of building software, because otherwise you would have to bring in some integrations to the platform, so you would have to enter your API keys, or make some manual decisions to decide when to write the docs in Notion. And we again have it in our roadmap, but it will be a lot different experience than what you have with other platforms in terms of automation processes. So yeah, I think we just went through every question. If you have any more coming, you can always share those through our Discord channel, which I'll discuss at the end. But yeah, for now, thank you for everyone, just for awesome questions. So let's continue. Uh, the next step, which is uh, about talking about what is next, basically, which is the biggest question here. So, how Modular Mind will evolve in 2024 to deliver you an unprecedented power to amplify your work with AI. So one improvement we have in mind is the long-term memory. And currently, the stacks in Modular Mind work as isolated sessions that work with the model separately. And so the only prompts and possible additional online data is used while running a single stack. But one useful addition would be having the ability for Modular Mind to have a memory that you can control first and then recall information from automatically whenever needed, just like how web browsing works in general. So this will also improve Modular Mind's capability to process large documents by efficiently accessing relevant portions on the go. So again, just like similar to the way the web browsing works, when you want to refer to previous conversations or data saved in memory, Modular Mind will efficiently access its memory to retrieve information and just send it to the model for use. Another important addition is delivering real-time collaboration to the platform. So you can just invite your colleagues to build workflows together. This sort of collaboration enables a more dynamic and interactive environment and where ideas can be shared and refined in real time. And with real-time collaboration, multiple users can work on the same set of prompts and change simultaneously, and they can see changes and updates in real time. This feature actually reduces miscommunication and errors, which are really present in with the current state of machine learning models we have right now. As this way, all collaborators can instantly see who is doing what basically, and can converse and make decisions directly within the platform. We're also working towards enhancing the support for more models, including multimodal ones. Currently, Modular Mind only supports language models that are only capable of processing text. And we plan to introduce multimodality to Modular Mind, meaning you will have the access to models that process images, videos, and audio, or output this kind of rich media. And we will continuously update the supported models on Modular Minds. We are aware that there are hundreds, maybe even thousands of models out there, generative models, and they're improving significantly day by day. But do not feel left behind due to the limited number of supported models on Modular Mind, because this is intentional actually. The field is saturated with models that possess similar capabilities, more or less, and we will always filter and deliver the best options for you. And there are many more. In 2024, delivering functionality and performance will continue to be our number one priority. And we're excited to present a product that embodies the power of AI within an intuitive interface, making the cutting edge technology accessible and easy to use. But of course, there's one more thing. As you know, platforms we visit every day mostly require some sort of authentication, whether it is for preventing abuse or simply for protecting your private data. This makes it hard for AI powered agents to access and process the data we spend our times with. We had integrations for this purpose in the past that allows our software to access this type of data, and today you have to manually deal with literally thousands of integrations to carry on for just simple operations. And obviously, you're always restricted by the platform's rules and how much they want to make your life easier. This is why we actually develop MindPass. With MindPass, you can easily allow Modular Mind to access authentication protected data over the web. So you can just log into any platform on the web through Modular Mind, and whenever you ask it to retrieve data, it will be able to access it just like you do with your browser. And this way, you can even access platforms that doesn't even have an API or an integration support. But of course, it is always better to show than to tell. So let's just quickly have a look at how it works. So to create a Mind Pass, head to the Mind Pass section under Settings and just click Launch a Mind Pass Session button. And I will visit first Google, since I usually use my Google account to sign into other platforms, and just click Launch Session button. What happens now is that a cloud machine is powered up and launches a browser in your control. The content you see in the browser streams to your computer in real time, and that's why you see it is a bit slower than your regular browser. But we will only have to use this to log in to your account. So I enter my mail, and as you can see, you may have to enter a captcha or one-time code to log in, and you may even have two-step authentication enabled. Just log in the way you usually do, basically. This session is private and encrypted, and ModularMind cannot see any content on the page, like your usernames, mails, or passwords. So we just enter our one-time password, one-time code, and now we're logged in. Now let's just head to X and log into our X account as well. I will again use my Google account to log in. As I said, things will feel slow because you're controlling a remote machine, but this will be only one-time session for us to just share our credentials. And just there we have it. Now we logged into X as well. Just let's go and click the Update Mind Pass button now. And Modular Mind will save your authentication credentials, including the cookies from the web pages, and save them to your machine. Again, it doesn't include any details about your accounts, like emails and passwords. You may think of it as a signed document from Google, for example, that states just you're allowed to pass the authentication. Now you'll see a list of multiple domains for which you have authentication information, and you may even see some domains that you didn't directly visit, since some websites use multiple records to save your credentials, like Google using the domain name YouTube for this purpose. You can immediately delete your credential information on any website whenever you want, or simply just delete your entire MindPass. Now let's just go ahead and create a stack to ask ModularMind to summarize our X feed. I will import x.com as a prompt. Then I will simply ask the model to summarize the posts it found on my feed. Let's just quickly name the stack. So when you click the Run button, ModularMind will create a copy of your MindPass, visit x.com and read the page, deliver the content to the model, and just destroy the copy of your MindPass. And there we have it. And as you can see, ModularMind just delivered the results just like the way it does for any public web page. So yeah, it found some posts, and let's just check if the content really belongs to our feed on X. X always refreshes the content you see on your feed each time you visit, and this brings different content each time, especially if you don't follow anyone. But actually, we can here see the OpenAI's post we saw uh, on the screen shared by Modular Mind. So it actually went there, just like any public page. It passed through the authentication section and managed to retrieve the results for us and summarize the entire thing. And the great thing is, this works for any web page on the web. So you don't have to deal with any API keys and integration parameters, and Modular Mind will simply access your data you allow to without any special setup. So this is the way actually Modular Mind works. So we will be rolling out the MindPass updates gradually for all the users starting on February 19th. and then you will probably have access throughout the week follows that. And that's it for now, actually. So, but before we go, we have a gift for you. So you can get your 8,000 credits gift by using the code FF2024. To redeem your gift, go to your credits in the app and tap the enter promo code button, which should be placed at the bottom. And this code is valid for 3 days, so just make sure you don't miss it. So